61-51. The Illinois Final Illini men's basketball team gets the win at Wisconsin. Illinois 15-6, 6-4 in the Big Ten, 3 games back from first behind Purdue, who I don't know if will catch Purdue, but they get the big win once again, second win over Wisconsin this season. Always a tough place to play when they go to Wisconsin. 61-51 over the Wisconsin Badgers, who are now 12-8, 4-6 in conference. They have dropped. It's a great win for Illinois men's basketball team. They need these wins as much as they can, as badly as they can. Now in a 2-game win streak. They were originally on a 4-game win streak after losing to Northwestern to go on to beat Wisconsin to start the win streak, then Nebraska, Michigan State, and Minnesota. Then they lose that tough game to Indiana. Then they come back and they beat Ohio State and then beat Wisconsin. Then they'll get another matchup here in just a couple of days versus Nebraska. But we're going to recap and discuss a little bit of this Illinois versus Wisconsin game that just finished moments ago. 61-51. There were some struggles there in the first half for Illinois. It was halftime, 20-16. Illinois had the lead. Then they scored 41 in the second to 35 for Wisconsin. There were some things going wrong for Illinois in the first half that they had to battle through, and some near the beginning of the second half, but weathered the storm from Wisconsin and was able to pull out the win. Matt Mayer had a career-high 26 points. He was 9 of 19 shooting, 5 for 11 on the three-point line, 3 of 4 from free throws. He chipped in with 6 total rebounds, stole the ball once, and had 1 block. So 26 points, a career high for him. He was on fire. He was doing a lot of things, not just shooting the ball. A lot of it was driving to the basket. Got a couple and ones. He had a big and one in the second half to help continue grow the lead for Illinois. The next leading scorer was Epps, who started, and I thought he played particularly well on defense and chipped in 13 points on offense, 5 of 10 shooting, 1 from 2 from the three-point line. He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and then the next leading scorer after that was Danger. He had 9 points, 4 of 6 from the field goal range, had 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. The only person to score off the bench was Melendez. He had that huge dunk in the second half. That was a huge momentum swing for his 2 points. Not a great scoring day for Shannon Carter Jr., who was in foul trouble at the beginning of the game, had 2 quick fouls and had to sit for a very long time, and then got his 3rd foul in the second half. And then that was all the fouls he had. 6 points, 2 of 6 shooting, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Only had 2 rebounds, and then he turned the ball over 6 times, so they were really trying to corral him. He had 2 charges on him, which I did not think were fouls. And then Coleman Hawkins only with 5 points, and they were mainly in the second half. 1 of 3 shooting, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He did have 9 rebounds, so chipped in there, 2 assists and 2 blocks. So Illinois played a Wisconsin-style type of game in the first half. Is the only way you can combat this. They were trying to go up and down, get some fast breaks that they could, but Wisconsin is pretty good at defense, and they were just playing a Wisconsin low-scoring type of game in the first half. Was not shooting the ball very confidently. Things were just not going in. The only spark, I think, in the first half was Danger. He had a lot of good post moves, but when Shannon Carter Jr., who is looking to drive to the basket hard, got a charge foul called on, which I thought could have gone either way, and then had another foul, so he had to sit for a while. And so for Illinois to be up 20-16 without arguably their best player, this stretch is a big-time deal. Matthew Mary, he was sick. He had some type of illness, a flu, I believe, and he looks healthier. And he just found a shot tonight. You know, again, he had 26 points. Defensively, I thought they were playing Wisconsin pretty tough, being very physical with them, causing Wisconsin to turn the ball over at times, but just matching their physicality. No matter how quote-unquote bad Wisconsin ever is, they are still a tough basketball team. They will push you around. They're going to set hard screens. They're going to box you out hard. And no matter how quote-unquote bad they are, Wisconsin shot 32% from the field, 18 of 56. They were 8 of 26 at the three-point line. only 4 of 7 from free throws, so Illinois did not foul them a lot to get them to shoot free throws. They only had 31 rebounds, 25 defensive rebounds. They had 9 assists. They did have 6 steals, no blocks. They did turn the ball over 9 times to Illinois' 11. They fouled 18 times. The largest lead Illinois was 17. The largest lead for Wisconsin was 4. So just to get Wisconsin very frustrated. Wisconsin just likes to run their offense too. They like to play the half-court game, and when they're able to play the half-court game, they can stay in the games. And if Illinois is missing shots and rushing up shots and not taking good looks, it kept Wisconsin in the game, kept them relevant during the game. Hepburn had 12 points for them. Kleismet had 12 points for them. Also, Esigen had 3. Wall had 9. Crowell had 7. And then only off the bench was Gilmore had 5. So not a lot of scoring production for them as well off the bench for Wisconsin, neither for Illinois. But they just did a lot of things in check. Now, at the beginning of the game, not Wall, excuse me. I know Kleisman had 3 3-pointers. Hepburn had 2 3-pointers. So in the beginning, this early on in the game, they were not closing out hard, and then Wisconsin was just making some decent-looking shots. And then they did get up in the second half after that charge after Shannon Carter Jr. and Coach Underwood about blew off the stadium roof, the Kohl Center, for how bad of a call that was. You could see the guy even churning. Was not very, I didn't think it was close to being a charge. Not even one of those where it goes, it's 50-50. It's not. And just did those things to win. If it wasn't for Mayer being hot and making those threes and getting some turnovers, some key turnovers for Illinois, and getting some momentum swings in the second half, they could have lost this game. But, you know, overall, this whole will tie into this game as well as Illinois right now. People, again, we go back, we're kind of freaking out, you know, for Illinois. I remember the freak out when they lost to Virginia, and then they lost to Maryland and Penn State. There was this huge panic mode, and especially Missouri and Northwestern. Like during that stretch right there, there was this weird, even after Texas, not quite a panic mode, but things that were, well, Illinois is, something's wrong, something's not going right. And then, you know, Clark leaves, and then all of a sudden they start going. So people are blaming Clark because he did things in the locker room and it was a bad teammate and everything else. Apparently that was reported. I have no idea. But there was this panic because there's this talent for Illinois. There's this length to Illinois. You saw today, Mayer, who is a forward guard, was so much taller than a lot of the Wisconsin players. He had that nice pump fake 3, drive around, get to the lane, and he was just so much taller than them, and he plays out on the wing. He can go down and post up. He can go down and get a rebound, but he plays out on the wing. And that's, you can't teach that. That's just genetics. And Illinois has very lengthy players. They have very aggressive players. They can drive to the rim. And they have this talent built around them. And we just weren't seeing it come together yet. And one thing I said, and a couple other people probably said, was you'd rather go through the clunkiness or the growing pains near the beginning start of the middle of the season rather than those type of things start to pop up at the end of your season. Because if those start popping up and those things start happening at the end, you're not going to compete to win a regular season conference championship, and you're not going to compete for the tournament championship. And then when you get to NCAA tournament, you're going to get bounced the first round. Illinois is now starting to click a little bit. They're feeling out what they can do. Mayer got interviewed after the game and said, you know, Coach Underwood really adjusted how they work their offense, really adjusted how they're doing their defense. I think, not to put, just from an outside perspective looking in, Coach Underwood at the beginning of the year either really tried to put in more of what he originally wanted when he got to Illinois. He talked about this, you know, you talk about spread offensive football, kind of like the spread type of motion stuff that he wanted to bring in, which he did adjust when he had Kofi Coburn. And then this type of team before Danger really came onto the scene, playing really, you know, doing a lot of good things, was I have this team that can guard some of the big post players, as we're not as big as Kofi, but we have this length, we have this speed, we're in transition, we can do these things. But I also have a very young team. And so I think he scaled things, he was trying to make sure everything was working, and he was trying to do what he kind of wanted to do, maybe. And I'm not putting words in his mouth whatsoever. But sometimes when you make tweaks, it's because you're making tweaks to say, okay, we can't do this. I have to accept it, and we have to adjust to this. And I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm going by personal experiences, and that's kind of maybe what has happened, where he just tweaked a little bit of things, saying, okay, still do things the way I think they should be done, but also do things the way that the players can understand and move. And you're seeing it. It gives them confidence in shooting. It gives them multiple options. And during the 35-second shot clock, it gives them enough time to keep running this motion type offense, this high ball screen, and make these guys defend the full half court. They have to defend everything, or you're forcing them to try to guard everything, and it's obviously you can't do that. And then on defense, you're not seeing as many switches. They did a couple of times tonight, and that's game plan. That's game plan versus who maybe is allowed to switch, who are they guarding, and when is the right time to switch. So they're more aggressive on defense, and getting more aggressive on defense, forcing enough tough shots to get the rebound, to push the ball, to get out in transition. That's where we get those fast break layups. That's where we get the fast break kick out threes. And it gives us confidence because we're shooting the ball more confidently. And then our defense becomes more confident off of that. And those are things you're just continuing to see. And you're seeing Illinois start to slowly figure it out. And to go from being 0-3 in the Big Ten to now being about 6-4 in the Big Ten is a big time thing, because people were writing Illinois off. And so to really have them start to figure out how to play together, Coach Underwood, people still get after him, and I don't know why. We got to be happy that we're 15-6 overall. And I really apologize if they're 16-6. I think it's 15-6. I don't know if this is reloaded. Sometimes websites do that, but to be in that type of situation right now, from where we were after the Penn State loss and after the Missouri loss, for sure, is great. And it doesn't get easier, but if we continue to play like this, to have the length bother people, to have guys that are able to score all around them, and these freshmen to figure it out. And some of these young guys are the unsung heroes when it comes to defense, to disrupt things, to get the rebound. And I think another unsung hero is Danger has been finding a way to have these. He's like a magician. He has these magician post moves that arguably could be better than Kofi's. And this is nothing against Kofi. It's just his footwork, how fast he can do these post moves is crazy. And when he scores, and especially today, scores the points in a critical time where maybe we need the shot to end a run. And that was another thing you saw from Illinois. They went on a couple 8-0 runs or 9-0 runs here. The only thing you still see from time to time, and this is not just an Illinois thing, this is an all over, you could probably see every team in the country do this. When Wisconsin was going on their run and they come back and they got up, Illinois stiffens up a little bit. They will settle for a shot, like at a three-point line, just force up a shot, and there still might be like 25 seconds left on the shot clock, or 20 seconds. Let's force up a bad shot. So sometimes Illinois kind of goes back to that, we're going to rush things. We're going to try to get the shot because we feel like we should. Or, my gosh, we got to end this run now instead of just running through offense and getting the good shot to end and then getting a stop. But you're not seeing that as much like we did at the beginning of the season and through that little part of the season, as we are slowly getting towards the end of the season, which is crazy. Not quite the end yet, but we are getting there. They have Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Rutgers, Penn State, Indiana, Northwestern, Ohio State, Michigan, and Purdue. So about 10 games left before the Big Ten tournament. So we're slowly wrapping it up. As we get there, we're still going to play through the whole month of February. So when I say that, it's like, oh my gosh, it ends tomorrow. No, but they're slowly getting to the end of their season. And so as long as they stop, if they can control when they just chuck up bad shots and trust the offense and trust getting a stop and just continuing to play with each other. They were talking about the leadership of Coleman Hawkins, which is slowly getting better. The leadership from Terrence Shannon Jr. from a vocal perspective, and as a player by example of how hard he is playing and how fast he's playing and the decision making. And so to have a team step up when he was in foul trouble should put a lot of pressure on other teams to say, oh my gosh, even when he's not scoring, these guys are stepping up. They're getting these rebounds. They're forcing bad shots from another team. So these are things you want to see at this point in the season and just continue to get better as we get to the end and into the Big Ten tournament, which then bodes well, hopefully, for the NCAA tournament. But Illinois gets the win 61-51 over Wisconsin on the road. Their next game will be at home on the 31st against Nebraska. They beat Nebraska early in the year 76-50 at Nebraska. So they get a couple days here to practice. They'll have the 29th and 30th to practice, and then they will play on the 31st. And we will be hopefully back for that. But thanks for watching and or listening, guys. Hopefully Illinois can continue on this run. Hope everybody's doing well. Thanks again for watching or listening. This is Coach Steve. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow at Coach_Steve72 on Twitter and at Coach Steve Show on Twitter as well. Leave a comment in the comment section, and we will see you guys on the next episode.